Hey everybody, Todd Dills here with this week's edition of Overdrive Radio for April 28th, 2025, and tracking back to the Mid-America Trucking Show this week to the big news there for the trucking community from Overdrive Radio sponsor House. Their House Hall of Fame added its 12th member when it honored Mother Trucker Yoga proprietor and fitness and wellness coach Hope Zvara at the show. You heard part of Zvara's story when she was featured here on Overdrive in conversation with Long Haul Paul Marhofer a couple years back about her simple program for physical fitness. Through basic yoga techniques drivers can do in-cab, around the truck, it points throughout a day for an approachable journey toward better physical health. Mental health, too, given Zvara well knows the connections between the two and isn't shy of stressing them routinely with those she works with. She's all too familiar with combating mental stressors of various natures in her own life, using yoga practice toward that end. And she's now worked with thousands of individual truck drivers to help them achieve their own goals. I got a little tutorial in the kind of quote-unquote no mat necessary yoga she teaches at the start of the Trucking Solutions Group's talk in the East Hall out at Matt's. A series of stretches aimed simply at relieving the neck and upper body tension so many of us face after a long day at the wheel, or, in my case, typing away at the desk.
Let's just sit up nice and tall. And as you sit up nice and tall, take that left or right arm. I'm going to do opposite. So right arm comes out, flex the palm, turn the fingertips back, and then drop the arm down to your side. And as you do that, tip your head the opposite way. This is called flossing. And now as you turn your head up or down or move your arm in or out, you can also take your free hand and place it to the side of your head like this. And you should feel that whole side of the neck open up. If you are a jaw clencher, a teeth grinder, if you have shoulder issues, this part of the body definitely needs a little.
Even though you can't see her, it's pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? Catch the rest of the audio of Zvara's instruction at the tail end of the podcast here for just one of a myriad of things the driver can do sitting on the bunk, on the side step, some even in the driver's seat, rolling down the road for certain things like shoulder rolls and other activities to break up an otherwise sedentary day. When it comes to improving health and fitness, I hope Zvara's program is designed for simplicity. Zvara is well aware it's not exactly a simple matter for any of us.
The influence of people going, oh, why are you doing that? Or who needs that?
It can be much more than just the latest fad or fitness challenge, too.
Drivers are being sold. Do this workout program, do this weight loss challenge. But it's so much more than that. And
Zvara's success breaking through barriers to health improvement for countless truckers certainly caught the eye of Rob Howes, Howes Products president. Likewise his team, and whose voice you'll hear at moments throughout the podcast today. Here's Rob describing how Zvara came to be the latest inductee into the House Hall of Fame.
So we're always looking for different avenues in the industry, topics that haven't been hit, things that are being done we haven't touched on before, and we've been talking about health for a while. Our marketing coordinator came across Hope's work online, and we ended up reaching out because to us it was the perfect embodiment of how to improve health with relatively simplified steps and fashion. And these aren't big lifts. And I think about it, I hurt my back a while back, and I went to PT for it. And the exercises that even they had me doing, it was this ridiculously simple, like, okay, stand there and put your hands on a counter. And I'm like, okay, what is that going to do? And you don't realize how much of an impact it has until a few weeks down the road. And I feel like that's a lot of what Hope is emulating, with yoga in general is emulating, is these simple, easy-to-do tasks that can dramatically improve your lifestyle. So that was an important thing for us. We always talk about, the well-being of our trucks and making sure that everybody stays on the road, but we don't talk about the well-being of the drivers behind them and the people aspect enough. And this was a great avenue for us to get into, and we're so thrilled that Hope could join our Hall of Fame and become our inductee for this year, because it's very impactful.
After a quick break, how Hope Zvara came to launch the programs that make up the Mother Trucker Yoga effort today, making an impact in the lives of so many professionals behind the wheel. Here we go.
Did you know today's ultra-low sulfur diesel is robbing your engine of vital lubricity? Howe's Diesel Defender is here to help. Formulated for diesel engines of all types and sizes, Defender adds lubricity back into your fuel, protecting your engine from wear and tear, while specialized IDX4 detergent keeps your engine clean and running strong. Plus, enjoy a guaranteed 5% boost in fuel economy or more while powering up performance. Howe's Diesel Defender, your ultimate engine protector.
Find more information about Howe's Diesel Defender at HOWES, howesproducts.com.
Let's go. We got to go. We got to get there.
My name is Hope Zvara, and in 2017 I started Mother Trucker Yoga, really just on a thought of wanting to find a bigger purpose for myself. I was running a yoga studio, and I had a state-approved vocational school teaching yoga and functional movement in my hometown in Wisconsin for about 15 years, and I loved it. It was good, but I always felt like there was something more for me out there, something with a bigger purpose, somewhere where I could utilize my skills and gifts at a higher level, but I didn't know what. And when trucking fell into my lap, I thought, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be and who I'm supposed to help. My dad was a sewer pipe layer, so I understand the blue-collar industry, the underserved, the underdog, so this just really resonated with me. So in 2017, I was at a local business mixer in my small hometown. I live in Wisconsin. It's like a farming, manufacturing town. It's called Hartford. Okay. So everyone knows everybody. And went to this business mixer, and I met a guy and started talking to him. I thought that next thing to bring me purpose was like corporate wellness. I had clients like Harley Davidson, AT&T. Like I thought, okay, that's the next level for me. And this guy looks at me and says, do you have anything for truck drivers, like in the cab of the truck? And I think I'm funny sometimes. And I said, Mother Trucker Yoga. Just trying to get a reaction out of the guy to make the conversation move a little bit better. And he didn't skip a beat and said, that's brilliant. You want to go into business together? We shook on it. He called me up the next day, and we had both done some research in the industry. And what I had found, there are people doing fitness, but not the way I knew it should be done, or I felt it could be done. And in 4 months, we built a business from scratch, we meaning me. And a year later, I bought him out of the business. And in the last 7-8 years alone, we've impacted and influenced and helped more than 200,000 drivers in various capacities, all based on the premise of small, simple changes. So instead of like a workout or even like a traditional yoga practice, we're doing more of like no mat yoga, where they can find ways to stretch, stress relief, yes, exercise, strength train, but finding the pockets throughout the day where they can maximize their day. If you're sitting in the driver's seat, you're in your sleeper, it's things you can do during your pre-trip check, it's things you can do at home in less than 5 minutes. And if you want a longer practice, we have that stuff too. But I really saw a gap with drivers where I want to work with the drivers that don't want to work out, that don't think they can be healthy. Because the ones that are already doing those things, they already have a routine. They already have a plan. They're already on their way. But the majority of the industry is not. And those are the people that I'm looking to serve.
There's a substantial online element to just how Hope Zvara and Mother Trucker Yoga is reaching individual truckers, but that's not the only avenue toward engagement with her program.
We have a couple of different multifaceted avenues. One is we have an app, so we do have a membership site that's dual purpose. So drivers can sign up individually, it's $7.99 a month, or we do work with fleets where that becomes their wellness component, and then they get group coaching from us to be able to just really stretch and reach farther. A big part of health and wellness is community, because when you feel like you're the only person trying to eat healthy or take care of yourself, the influence of people going, oh, why are you doing that? Or who needs that? So the group component is really big in our coaching. So bringing drivers together with other drivers that want to be healthy. But aside from that, I have a certification. I partnered with Commercial Vehicle Trucking Association this year and rolled out the only certification for wellness for CDL schools. So that's really exciting, and we're working on that and rolling that out in the next 2 months here. And then also doing in-service training. So I do a lot of those, both webinar style and in person for fleets. And then a lot of speaking. I speak at a lot of conferences and a lot of events, just really showcasing this approach to health and wellness, that it's approachable, it's easy to adopt, and that it doesn't have to be this big, complicated program. It really can be easy for a company or an individual to use.
If you're like me, that's key. And Hope really breaks what yoga is down to the elements, helping her largely male trucking clientele understand it as just what it is at its core. Good humor helps in that effort, starting with the very name of the Mother Trucker Yoga program.
They laugh with me because the name is funny. And so I think there's that piece to it. So looking just purely at a marketing principle, if you're not forgotten or you're not remembered, you're forgotten. So our name is fun and punny.
Yeah,
so
totally.
it kind of brings people into the conversation. But the other piece is really helping them understand this is not about a traditional yoga class. So you don't have to namaste. You don't need to warrior to it. But it's using the concepts of yoga, balance, flexibility, mobility, core strength, and really bringing those to the driver in kind of a broken down format that we can work up to. Because a lot of people working from the fitness industry for so long, it's like the 0 to 60 or the New Year's resolution style. I'm going to never eat sugar again, quit caffeine, I'm going to go paleo, I'm going to run 10 miles a day, go to the gym 5 days a week. They do that for like an hour, and then they're like, oh, and then they're completely the opposite way, like 2 more miles the opposite direction. And so my whole thought is, what if we just do one pose every day? You have sciatica, do this one stretch every day for the next 30 days, then come back to me. You know, you're looking to improve your health. How much water have you been drinking? How about instead of 8 bottles of water, let's just start with 1. Like, that concept to drivers is like mind-blowing that they're like, really, I can do that? I'm like, dude, you haven't drank water in 2 years. Like, I think we just need to work on a bottle of water and get that down. Your body is going to thank you. And it's almost like someone's finally giving them permission to start small. And I think there's a lot of embarrassment when you start talking to these drivers that they are in this position. And when someone comes alongside of them and says, hey, you don't need to be perfect, and I'm not expecting you to do this radical weight loss challenge that then the second the program's over, you're going to yo-yo the other way. One of the components I think a lot of fitness people forget about is the mental component. There is a reason why you got to this place. And if we only address the weight and the physical and never address the mental piece, you will constantly find yourself yo-yoing back and forth way after I'm gone. And so why not establish healthy habits and healthy routines that aren't scary and that are easy so that you can build your way up and sustain it for the long haul. And that's really what Mother Trucker Yoga is all about. I struggled for more than half my life as a teen into my 20s with addiction, eating disorder, binge drinking, anxiety, depression. I was told not by one doctor, but 2, best case scenario. I learned to live on medication indefinitely. And I decided that wouldn't be my story. And just kind of did all the things I'm supposed to do and just wasn't getting better. And my family, I don't want to say they gave up on me, but they were like, I don't know what else to do for you. And then one day, a colleague, I was working at a recreation center at the time, and she looked at me and was like, you look like someone that would practice yoga. And I come from a small town. I don't even think I knew what the word yoga was at that time, but something in me just kind of switched. And I went home and found a yoga class, and that Wednesday night yoga class became my weekly ritual of second chances. I'd show up at that class, even though I was shaking and doing all the poses wrong, inhaling when I should be exhaling. I left that room for the first time. My mind was clear. Like, I was calm. And obviously it's like, you know, I kind of yo-yoed with that, but every time I came to yoga, I felt like I had a renewed sense of hope and I had a second chance. And I believe everyone deserves that. Eventually, yoga was able to get me into recovery. I did an outpatient treatment, but the tools yoga taught me while in that environment, looking around at the other women in the room, I really realized I had tools they had not yet been taught. And it was the yoga piece. It was the self-control. It was the breathing. It was the learning to be in your body that yoga taught me. And for people that struggle with addiction, you use the addiction to get rid of the feelings, to get rid of the emotions. And yoga's like, no. You have to learn to feel those. And so yoga became kind of an incubator for my everyday life. I'd go to the yoga mat to kind of practice learning how to deal with life and stress, and then go into real life. And I was like, wow, I can do these things. So now with drivers, I'm really just breaking these things down that I personally used to get myself to where I am today, along with other support to build a toolbox. Because it's no one thing. There's no one thing that's going to fix you. No matter what marketing people have out there, you have to want it for yourself. And you have to have the support and the toolbox that you can pull out those necessary tools for. One person comes to mind is Dean Key, is a driver of mine I've been working with for several years. And when I first met him, he had a little bit of a weight problem, maybe 30 pounds or so. I wouldn't say it's the extreme of some of the drivers I've worked with, but the mental piece was a big part of it. The solitude was great until it wasn't. And the biggest thing that working with him was breaking up his day into using breathing exercises, the exercises and the stretches in the driver's seat to break up the drive, it kind of became something as a part of the drive versus like, oh, once I get there, then I'm going to. And that made a really big impact on his mental health because it gave him something to do. Because you can only listen to so much radio, you can only listen to so many podcasts, and then all of a sudden your mind just drifts away. But there's a physical component and a mental component that kind of weave together with something as simple as shoulder rolls. Now my mind is engaged in something that now I'm focused on something other than, oh, my life sucks, or oh, I hate myself, or oh, my wife, or oh, my husband, or oh, my boss. Like our mind, just like you said, kind of spirals. But when we bring action or movement into it, even breathing, I'm going to pay attention to my breath, we're rerouting the mind onto one thing. And that's really the yoga piece, is that stillness and that focus that is just not talked about enough in exercise, because usually it's the get her done mentality. You know, just go lift the weights, go do the run. But what about focusing on what you're actually doing to create that stillness? All of a sudden, you know, you start to see that shift happen internally. And that's a game changer, not just for drivers, for anybody.
Well, don't forget, you're talking about being in one position the whole time and being stuck in your own head with that.
House President Rob Howes, whose interjection here acknowledges the stress of the work of the road, something a coordinated effort with small steps along the way can ultimately help alleviate as well.
On the roads, drivers are getting more and more aggressive,
Yes.
and the stress that you're dealing with, you're driving not a small truck around. You can cause some damage, and people are cutting you off, and you got to deal with that mental aspect too. So to have
Environment,
some kind of
weather.
Yep.
Simple practices, you know, again, not talked about enough. Yeah, exactly. You can pelvic tilt, you can do different things, but even just a simple practice of gratitude, you know, is such a concept for drivers that when I talk about that, like, that's wellness. Or goal setting. When I ran a 90-day program for about 25 drivers, and we had a whole week, we talked about goal setting. And to hear from some of these drivers, they had never set a goal for themselves. They had no idea how to do that. And I'm like, this is how you give purpose to yourself. This is how you set the tone for how you want to live. Like, and they had never thought about that. They're like, well, I guess I just wake up and go to work every day. So to shift their focus towards having purpose and gaining perspective that they matter and have value, you carry yourself in a different way. Now you want to take care of your health. Now you want to take care of your family. Now you want to do good on the inside and the outside. This far supersedes just fitness, which is a lot of what times drivers are being sold. Do this workout program, do this weight loss challenge, but it's so much more than that. And when you pull it back just a little bit and say, hey, I see you, you're a person, and there's a lot more to it than that. Let's start there. You see the drivers open up and start sharing about struggles, and they do care. They might not say they do, but they really do once they're given a space and permission to show that they actually care.
Yoga in general in the Western world has gained cultural acceptance over decades now, it's certain. But for some of the men among us, and I can count myself in this, practice sits in our minds as something that, well, women do. Yet, as Rob Howes went on to point out,
many of the athletes out there, we were talking about football
Yes.
Players, these are common things that are, they might not be shouting, some of them do, and
Yeah.
many might not be shouting from the rooftop they're doing yoga, but all the exercises they're doing based in yoga.
Football, basketball, baseball, it's a regular part of their training program now. Yoga, go back thousands of years, was actually only practiced by men. Women were not allowed to practice. So, like, talk about when it came to the West, it kind of flip-flopped,
Yeah.
you know, and now you can receive yoga in so many different ways, like Mother Trucker Yoga, to be able to really expand your horizons in your health and well-being, that, you know, if one small thing can really make a difference in your life, my thing to drivers is, why wouldn't you? For some of, it's like the drivers I work with are split. Some of them, it's like, why didn't anyone tell me this sooner? And the other drivers, it's like, learn from your superiors and the mentors here. Like, don't wait 30 years in the industry to go, oh, like, now I should care. Because now you got stuff that's broken that might not be able to be fixed. Like, and if you can fix that now with 5 to 15 minutes sprinkled in through your day, my thing is always, why wouldn't you?
you can get started with Zvara's 11 stretches every driver should be doing at her mothertruckeryoga.com website, or that brief routine that we started at the top as it continues at the end of the podcast. I'll drop a link to Zvara's site, though, in the show notes for the podcast, likewise to the nomination form for the Howes Companies Hall of Fame, where you can yourself call out someone you admire for potential Hall of Fame membership. It's one of the ways Rob Howes and company identified trucking industry leading lights of all stripes, including no small number of owner-operators through the years. Rob Howes also noted the community aspect of the Hall of Fame itself as our time together at Matt's winded down.
One of the great things about the Hall of Fame program is we connect each inductee and try to build a community off of it so that each inductee's work can grow and expand, through each other.
I'm really glad to be a part of now this amazing network of people just doing good in the industry, and with Howes leading the way with over 100 plus years now doing what they do so well. I'm just honored to be a part of it. I'm always just looking to continue to grow my reach and create relationships with people that genuinely care about their drivers. We have, I was telling you about the CDL certification that we have, and just really continuing to showcase health and wellness in a new perspective to drivers, whether it's working with companies and their fleet, or it's working with other partner companies that want to showcase driver health for themselves, like with Howes, to just really showcase that we do care about our drivers and we need healthy drivers. So that's what I'm always on the lookout for, is good relationships.
And that's a wrap for this Overdrive Radio edition. As noted, find more information via links to the Mother Trucker Yoga website and Howes Hall of Fame in the post that houses the podcast at overdriveonline.com/overdrive-radio, or in the show notes wherever you're listening. Overdrive Radio is on Spotify and SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts and YouTube, Overdrive's Facebook page, and any listening platform, really. Leave us a review there if you're enjoying these, and here's a big thanks in advance for it. Overdrive Radio is a production of Overdrive, the voice of the American trucker. It's edited and produced by me, Todd Dills, with the acoustic guitar and other support of trucker songwriter Long Haul Paul Marhofer. The theme is Legend of the Snake Man by Marhofer, featuring the guitar work of Travis, the Snake Man himself, Whammick, Terry Two Socks Richardson on bass, keys by Tishomingo Jim Whitehead, and on drums, Andrew Marshall. The podcast is backed up further by Overdrive's own social media coordinator, Jasmine Campbell, senior editor Matt Cole, executive editor Alex Lockey, and video editors Lawson Rudisell and Andrew Gwynn. Here's Hope Zvara walking us through that flossing she started us out with up top.
Feeling better, so you don't have to be scared. Let's just sit up nice and tall. And as you sit up nice and tall, take that right arm. I'm going to do opposite. So right arm comes out, flex the palm. Turn the fingertips back, and then drop the arm down to your side. And as you do that, tip your head the opposite way. This is called flossing. And now as you turn your head up or down or move your arm in or out, you can also take your free hand and place it to the side of your head like this. And you should feel that whole side of the neck open up. If you are a jaw clencher, a teeth grinder, if you have shoulder issues, this part of the body definitely needs a little bit of space and release. So now roll the chin down to the chest and take both of your hands and place them at the base of your skull. That's called the occipital bone. And as you interlace your fingers behind your head, push your head back up into your hands and resist. Really relax the shoulders down and just take a couple of breaths here. All that tension and tightness from looking at all those pretty trucks. You gotta release that out of the neck. And then release the hands and roll your head up to the opposite side. So we're going to the opposite shoulder. And then as you flex your palm, turn your fingertips back. So remember, we're turning that arm backwards. And then drop the head to the side. You can take your free hand and just give a little bit of tension and pull. This is something that you can be doing throughout the day as you start to notice more tension in your neck or shoulders, headaches. Again, if you're a teeth grinder or a jaw clencher. And then bring the head back up to center. And then my last one is my favorite one. You're going to take your hands, find your clavicles. You can go right over your shirt. And you're going to place both hands hand over hand and pull down on your chest here. Open your mouth. Keep your mouth open. I'm going to talk. You're going to keep your mouth open. And as your mouth is open, tip your head back. And once it's back as far as you feel comfortable, close your mouth and push your bottom jaw and chin up to the ceiling like you have an underbite. And then try sliding your bottom jaw side to side as you pull down right by your clavicles. So I call this the gobbler stretch. because you're going to help bring more tautness to your neck again. And if you have a lot of pain in your upper neck and the back, it's actually the front that's tight. That's actually what's causing that pain. It's not where you're feeling it. And then bring the head back up to center. Nice job. Let's just do one more here. So for those of you that are sitting, we're going to stay sitting. I'm going to actually just use this lower level here. And as you're sitting, you're going to take your left leg, we did this earlier today, and bring it up onto your right ankle or on your right knee. It's been a long 3 days here. Flex the foot, sit nice and tall, and then lean forward as you press down on that crossed leg. This is called figure 4 stretch. So my sciatica friends, if you struggle with sciatica, if you have piriformis syndrome, or just that constant pinching in your lower back, you need to create space in your hips. It's not necessarily your lower back that is the problem. It's oftentimes the hips kind of pinning together. And then bring yourself back up. Let's do the same thing on the opposite side. I'm going to hand the mic back over. All that walking, let's bring it forward. Flex the foot. Nice long spine as you lean forward. Think about hinging from the hip rather than rounding in your back. And you should be feeling that maybe in the lower back, possibly in the hip or inner thigh. And then bring it back up again. Bring your shoulders up to the ears, relax them down and back. And now you guys are ready to listen to truckers.